Hi, in today's lesson, we'll talk about present simple and present continuous. We will learn how to use them and we will learn what is the difference between these two tenses. Also, we'll learn how to make questions and negative using these tenses. At the end, we will have two exercises to test our understanding of the topic. So let's start. The first skill we need to practice is to know the tense of the sentence from the shape or from the form. Here we have two sentences and we need to know which sentence is written in simple present and which sentence is written in present continuous. Pause the video and give it a try. Okay, so we are having a break now. This is the present continuous, and the other sentence that we have a break every hour. This is the simple present. How do we know? From the shape. Look at the sentence, how we made it here. The first one, we have the subject, which is we. Then verb be, could be or is or are, but here we use are for sure. Then having, so or verb plus ing. So when we have subject, verb be, then verb plus ing, this is the present continuous. Meanwhile, in simple present, we have the subject. Then we call it verb one here. We play, we do, we write, etc. Of course, we have the rest of the sentence here. Okay, now what about the usage? Why we use the present simple and when we use present simple and when we use present continuous? For present simple, we use it for routine, for habits, for general actions. Meanwhile, the continuous, we use it to talk about actions that are happening right now. Look at the word here, now. What's happening? We are having a break. So other words that might help us in deciding the tense here, we have in the present continuous, we might have at the moment. Okay, so when we use this phrase at the moment, we will use present continuous, or right now, or now. Currently means right now. Maybe it has a different meaning, but anyway, no problem. For simple present, like we have the word every hour, always, usually. Let me write them here. Usually, always, often, never. Also, although like never, maybe we can use it with other tenses. But anyway, I think you got the idea here that for simple present, for routine, for general things. And for present continuous, we talk about right now. However, we have still like a difference in the now here. When we talk about right now, it doesn't mean like the moment itself. Maybe it is extended now. Maybe it's like, well, 3 months or 2 weeks. Let's take the following example. I work as a teacher, but at the moment, I'm working as a translator. So look, this part here, this is simple present. I work as a teacher. Now, here I'm working, this is present continuous. I'm working as translator. Now, some students might ask, okay, is it correct to say I work as a teacher or I'm working as a teacher, or I'm working as a translator? Now, both grammatically, both are correct, but the meaning is different. So what is the difference? That when we talk about something and we use like present continuous right now, I'm working, it means this is something temporary, this word here, temporary. What does it mean temporary? It's for the short amount of time, or for a short period of time. When we talk about something and we put it in simple present, this is permanent. What does it mean permanent? Means like it is always, all the time. So that is a huge difference between simple present and present continuous here. So let me just summarize it. Remember, the present continuous, it is like temporary or short period of time. Now, for the simple present, it is always, all the time, permanent. So what do you understand right now? That I work as a teacher. This is my original job. This is like, okay, I work as a teacher, but maybe for the current 2 weeks or for the current month or for maybe 6 months, we don't know, but it is temporary for a short period of time that we will use a present continuous here. So we say, I'm working. Okay, so now let's move to another idea for the questions and negative in both tenses. Now, for the negatives and the questions, we need auxiliary verbs or helpers. They help us in making the negatives and the questions. Here we have an example in simple present. I read books in English. How can we make it negative? We need verb do. So it will be I don't read books in English. Now, please notice if we change the subject, for example, if we make it he or she or it, what changes we will have? First of all, in the passive sentence of this that she, it will be she reads books in English. So when we make it negative, we don't use do, instead we use does. So it will be she doesn't read books in English. So please pay attention to he, she, it, whether it is in the passive or in the negative. In the passive sentence, you will add s to the verb. When you will create negatives and questions, you will use does instead of do. Now, what about the present continuous? What is the helper? The helper is already there in the sentence, which is verb be. So simply here, just like add not after is. So she isn't, is not, no problem. She isn't reading a book now. Of course, for other pronouns, I mean, if it is like you are reading, it becomes you aren't reading. That will be for the negative. Or I'm reading a book, or I am reading a book, then I'm not reading a book. Okay, so that was for the negative. What about the questions? The questions now we have two types. One type we call it yes, no question. Yes, no question, which is simple to do, just like flip the order between the subject and the helper. So always we start with the helper here. So in simple present, we would say, since the subject here is she, so we say, does she read books in English? Of course, question mark. So always switch. You have the helper first, then the subject. If you are talking about, if you are asking someone, do you read books in English? Okay, the same here for the present continuous, just like the helper is different, of course. So we say, is she reading a book now till the end of the sentence? Again, the change in the pronoun, if we are talking about you, are you reading? Sometimes you ask yourself, am I doing well? And so on. They also like, are we reading or are we doing well? Are we speaking in the class? And so on. Now, for the last type of question, that will be WH question. That, by the way, the answer to yes, no question will be yes. So does she read books in English? Yes, she does. No, she doesn't. Here, is she reading a book now? Yes, she is. No, she isn't. That's why we call them yes, no question. Now for WH question, no, here we have information. Could be about, you are asking about the time, the place, reason, etc. We talked about them last lesson or in unit 1 about question words. But here, if we say like reason, for example, we use why. So we say, why does she read? Of course, the rest of the sentence, she read books in English. So what is the difference? It's just like simply we added a question words at the beginning of the question. So always remember, for question you need the helper. Now for simple present, that will be do or does, depending on the subject. Put it at the beginning if it is question, okay? So, and if it is like WH question, you add this at the beginning. So it will be why does, or where do you play football, for example. When do you go to sleep, and so on. Okay, now for the present continuous, that will be the same idea. So why, but the helper is different. So instead of does, of course, you're gonna use is here. Why is she reading a book right now? Okay, so as a recap or a summary for questions or for negatives and questions, we need a helper. The helper for the present simple is do or does. The helper for present continuous is verb be, whether it is is, or are. Now, before we start solving some exercises here, we have two important notes. The first one is verb be as a main verb. Now, some cases in English or some situations, we don't need main verb. We don't need that, for example, the verb play, write, read. No, we use only verb be. For example, when we say the weather is cold, or kind of question when we say are they students, or even in negative, I'm not in the class. So remember, those are special cases. I would remind you with these, or the main one here, when we have adjectives like cold, hot, difficult, easy, etc., beautiful, nice, we use verb be before adjectives. Or when we talk about like jobs, maybe doctors, engineers, teachers, we use verb be. Or when we talk about places here in the class, in Istanbul, I don't know, at home, and so on, here we only use verb be. We don't need any other verb. So what is the importance here? What we have to pay attention to actually is when we have these cases, we don't need the do or does in simple present to make negative. Notice that here we made negative only simply by adding not. And we create question just simply by flipping the subject and verb be. So please pay attention to these cases: adjectives here, jobs, or places. Of course, we have other cases like when we talk about the names, sometimes about prices, and so on. But those are the main three situations. When we have them, we use verb be as the main verb. We don't need helper, or we don't need do or does to make negative or questions. And all of these sentences, the most important thing here, that all of these sentences, these are simple present, not present continuous. So please keep it in your mind. Now, another note here about state verb. Some verbs in English, they do not come with ing. For example, the verb know, understand, believe, want, like, love, and there are some other verbs. Those we call them state verbs. So we cannot say he is wanting to study English, for example, or she is understanding well. No, these verbs, they never come with ing. Okay, I think now we are ready to start solving some exercises. Here we have this question. Okay, I needed to use right now these verbs in the correct place. First of all, decide, should I use right now simple present or present continuous? So you have to think about the situation. Is it permanent? Is it general, routine to use simple present? Or is it about the moment right now? Or is it about temporary things? So I will use present continuous. This is one thing. Another thing, please be careful if you have questions or negative. So you have to use the verbs and the helpers. So please pause the video and give it a try. So number one, it takes him 10 minutes to go or to get to work. The other person saying, I know his house space far from the office. Of course, here are we talking about like temporary things or like something happening at the moment or general and fact? Obviously, this is a fact, so we should use a simple present. And the correct verb here is verb B. Verb B. So I know his house. So his house, it is far from the office. Number two, isn't your son an actor? This question. Yes, so he is an actor, but it's a very important example actually. But at the moment, okay, right now, so this temporary, he space in a restaurant. So the verb is work, obviously here is clear. So, but we have to use present continuous because at the moment, so he's working in a restaurant. Yes, he is an actor, but right now, at the moment, currently, he is working in a restaurant. Number three, what is all that noise? I'm trying to work. Obviously, here we're talking about the situation right now. So I space with the children, so the verb is play, and right now we should use present continuous. So I'm playing with the children. Now, number four, what space here about the new software program? The new software program, absolutely nothing. I don't know anything here. So here's the question. And obviously, we're going to use the verb know. But remember, no, we cannot use it with ing. And this is generally a question. So we say, what do you know about the new software program? Now, number five, why, and actually this is a question here, so we have to pay attention. That jacket in the office, it's really warm. So the answer was because I'm cold. So the verb is wear, and remember here is like we are talking right now about something happening right now. So we say, why are you wearing that jacket in the office? Okay, now number six, would you like some beef? No, thanks. Blah, 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 space here, meat. I'm vegetarian. Vegetarian, someone who doesn't eat meat. So obviously here he said no thanks, so we should use negative here right now and the verb eat. So here we go. So I don't eat meat. I'm vegetarian. Finally, why are you standing there? This is like the last verb, wait, and obviously it is right now, so I'm waiting. I'm waiting for a taxi. Now, another exercise here. We have 8 sentences right now. We need to find and correct the mistakes. There is a mistake in 5 of the sentences. So 3 of them correct, 3 of these 8 correct, not do anything to them. But 5 of them, they contain mistakes or one mistake in each sentence. So find that mistake and write the sentence in a correct way. Pause the video and give it a try. Okay, let's check. Number one, John works in sales and he's going to the office every day at 8 a.m. So every day, this is simple present. It's routine, habit, etc. He is going, can we use present continuous with this? No, this is a mistake. So instead, and he goes to the office every day at 8 a.m. Now, number two, the new employee says she's 18, but I'm not believing it. Remember, believe, that verb is a state verb. We cannot use ing with it. So we don't use present continuous, so that will be a mistake. Instead, we say, but I don't believe it. Okay, now number 3, at the moment, so okay, it's obvious. At the moment, I'm doing a task for my past, present continuous at the moment. Okay, this is fine here. 4, don't buy a bottle of wine for her. She isn't drinking alcohol. So one more time, this is like she isn't drinking it right now. No, this is like kind of a routine or a habit for her. So we don't use present continuous. This is a mistake. So we say she in negative. Remember, she doesn't. We need to use simple present. She doesn't drink alcohol. 5, I can't speak Chinese, but my friend teaches me. Now, here, okay, I can't speak Chinese, it's fine, but my friend teaches me. Is it like a routine? Is it permanent all the time? No. So we shouldn't use simple present here. Maybe this is like for a short period of time. His friend is teaching him. Okay, so instead of using simple present, it should be but my friend is teaching me. Okay, for number 6, excuse me, is anybody sitting here? So this is like a situation happening right now. You are asking someone, is anybody sitting here? So present continuous, which is fine. Now, number 7, I'm taking art classes this term. Okay, this term for temporary, okay, or short period of time. Maybe you can say, okay, this term maybe 3 months, but it's still like it's not like forever. It's not permanent or always. So we use present continuous. So I'm taking art classes, so that is fine. Now, number 8, hey, what do you do with that knife? Obviously, this situation right now here happening, so we shouldn't use present simple. Instead, okay, do you do this a mistake? So instead of that, we say, what are you doing? What are you doing with this or with that knife? Okay, thank you very much for watching this video. That's it for today, and I will meet you in another video. Take care. Bye bye.